Greetings. This is going to be a series of controversial videos that I'll be doing on this channel. In the future, I'll be structuring it way better, so this is just a temporary video, and I shall in the future, hopefully God willing, go into further detail. So the title of this video is, I'll call it just the age of degeneracy. We live in a time where humanity has completely rebelled against its creator and decided to go its own way. We as a species think ourselves as the arbiter of truth. We think as a species that we know best and that we know everything, or that we are gods ourselves. And we have become a very selfish species, a species that's consumed with the self. We're lovers of ourselves, lovers of things of this world, and our hearts grow quite cold. Now, I myself, I'm very grateful the Lord saved me, because my conscience has been awakened to how evil this world is, and how things that I thought when I was younger were okay, that I saw the full light of how evil it is and how darkness it is. But when I was a child, I always knew lying was, a lot of evil things happened to me, and I'm very grateful for those evil things happened to me, because it has made me aware of such the depravity of humanity in such a fallen state outside of Christ. And I'm so grateful that the Lord saved me, otherwise I myself would have become as depraved and as wicked and evil as anyone else. My heart and my thoughts that went through my head for the Lord to save me would scare anyone, and that's why it's very important that I die to myself every day. So now you have this utter confusion where you have, and I've noticed this, where you have men and women, they have desire to form relationships. They have a void inside themselves that they're looking for love, and if you ask the majority of people on the planet, they're trying to fill the void with love, yet they reject the very source of love itself, God. So then they try to find it outside of God, and that never ends well. In the end, it doesn't end well for anyone. So we live in an era where a lot of women have adopted a lot of the destructive traits of men. Now, these are men that have no self-control, and women have decided to be likewise, and it's led to completely degeneracy, where you have people who be in relationships, men and women, and they would openly cheat on their partners, or they will kind of play games where they don't communicate. It's like one person has perception of relationship, and they think in the relationship, but the other person doesn't clarify it, and they kind of they string that person along while they're going after other men, and men do likewise to women. And because that causes a great heartbreak, it causes great confusion, and there's a lot of that. The whole idea of open relationships in itself is stupid. But we live in a degeneracy of just complete evil. So you have like one night stands, you have threesomes, you have orgies, you have just things that, if you go back in ancient times, nothing's changed. So it's just become more easy to access such debauchery with the internet. You can just go up an internet site, and there's loads of these sites that cater towards this evil and this debauchery. And then a lot of men and women then are like struggling to find partners. And here's a truth now: if I had a son, I would advise him against starting a relationship with anyone that has no repentance in their soul, that doesn't seek God. Just because a woman has extremely high attractive looks, or that you may be attracted to a woman, doesn't mean that she's a suitable partner or a suitable wife or mother. The best thing, and for my daughter I say likewise, if you look for men, and if the man is completely consumed in lust and sexual sin, and he's only after you for your physical appearance and not your soul, and he doesn't care about your salvation, he doesn't care about your walk with Christ, then that's a man that you should stay clear from. If he's a man that's not willing to build you up, he's not willing to lead you, then he's a man that's he's a man that you should run as far away as possible from. Also, those he surround himself with should be indication of his character. If he surround himself with people that are deep in sin and have no awareness of their sin, then you should not. If you social with them, you do so at your own peril. The consequences thereof. So this video is controversial because I would talk about simple truths that men generally look for women that don't have a high body count, and women are generally look for men, and this is deep down because God built us this way, that are able to lead, that are able to protect, that are able to provide, that are able to lift up, and that are able just to love them and to encourage them. And men are looking for women that are faithful, loyal, trustworthy, and that they can that can give them peace. Because if you ask any man if they're truly honest, and men nowadays, the biggest problem with men nowadays is they compromise too easily. That's on them, and the conscience they're all this, and I speak from experience. If you compromise your values, if you don't set a line, people will cross it, and that goes from if you're a man or a woman. If you have a line, whether it be in any friendships or relationships, and if you don't set that line, and this goes for parents as well with children, you should always set a line, and that's a marker that this line cannot be crossed, because then you overstep those boundaries. And you don't learn this in school, you don't learn to set boundaries. But we live in a world where we go against the way God designed us to be, which is bringing glory. When it comes to sex, it used to be such a holy, sacred, beautiful thing where two people become one flesh. Where a man and woman gets together and they become one flesh, one and whole. And sadly, that's not the case, because humanity has before they involve to get to know each other, to just get into a relationship, because it's more out of emotions. It's not out of actually genuinely want to get to know a person and to know their heart. And if you want to get to know someone's heart, if they're unsaved, you're dealing with someone that has a wicked and deceitful heart. There are many reasons why relationships end up going. It's because the foundations were built on a lie, and if your foundation is built on lies, then eventually a person would change their behaviour in order to keep someone alive, or change their behaviour to get into a relationship, and they're not themselves, they're wearing a mask. And humans generally do this. They're more like chameleons. They would, and I've observed this from experience, where their behaviour will change depending on who they're talking to. So one person they might talk more nice to, another person they might go, "Argh!" Another person they might be like, "Yay, huggy!" Another person might go, "Brah!" So the behaviour changes based on the person's tone of voice, based on the personality, because you have personality clashes. And I've observed this in life and continues over in life, how people, they would say they're friendly, they're nice and caring, but there's an inconsistency. We're a very inconsistent species, and when you're consistent in someone's life, that isn't a guarantee that that person will value that life. If they don't value that you have this thing where people would say something to you, and you could tick all these boxes that they say to you, but unless they have a strong foundation in love and God and Christ, that means nothing. It means nothing, because they don't really believe it. It's just like mouthpiece. In their heart they do not, because the heart deceives himself, and sadly that's like with many men and women. Communication is a major thing that causes relationships to crumble in pieces. But you have this thing now where promiscuity and going on and having multiple partners is seen like a good thing, as having like multiple partners is somewhat good, even though it's at polar opposite, because the more sexual partners have, the less you'll be able to pair bond, because you're becoming one flesh with multiple people. and your soul has been attached to a person, and every time you have sex with that person, you're getting a part of their darkness and a part of the light into you. And that makes it hard for you to pair bond because of attachments, emotions, and if you try to separate yourself from the attachment of those emotions, it's going to lead to a lot of psychological and emotional damage deep inside. You will not be able to pair bond. You become like a husk, because I've experienced this with interactions with some women in my life, where when you're around them, they just feel like a cold statue. They don't no longer, their soul is so deep, dead and scarred that the only thing that can save them is a new heart, and for their souls to be regenerated. But sadly, they're just like a walking corpse, and they get into relationships and they're still walking a corpse. They're buying things for themselves, and they're just dead. And it's just tragic, because when I see women and I see men, I see like the full potential for them to be either a father or a mother, or even a father figure and a mother figure. They have that potential, but sadly they don't see it in themselves. And sadly, majority of people on this planet will never experience the full capabilities, the full creative capabilities. That's the most tragic thing of it all. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video.